So I wanted to get on here and just record a experience that I'm going through and that I know other people are going through, and that is fear. And there's so much that goes on in the media, of course, that is trying to get our attention and get our fear. And like my friend Caitlin was saying today, we pay with our attention. And I get that. I have been feeling really terrorized by the weather and really the news around the weather, being on the coast and in California with earthquakes, tsunamis, cyclone bombs, and all kinds of just really crazy stuff the past month. And I've just been using the tools that I have learned in hypnosis, and with various practitioners that I've worked with. And one of those tools is anchoring something specific into your body and into your psyche. And so it's been so interesting to do the work with myself, which, in a lot of the streams that we've done with Pete, we were talking about ways that you can do self hypnosis as well as working with a practitioner. And also how often the guide actually is within ourselves, but it's you know takes a minute to kind of cultivate that within ourselves and bring ourselves back home, as Joanna often says, and back to ourselves. And so when I take the time to really just sit and listen, um, and I'll even try to guide myself in the ways that I've learned. But almost all times when it really uh, comes to fruition and like helping me out is when my internal self takes over and creates the pathway and the visualization or what have you to get myself to a better place. And so I two things that I did or that some aspect of myself brought me to was I was working on trans transitioning my fear into courage. And so what I wanted to do was every time I feel fear, that is my trigger, my reminder, my body's reminder to get back to courage. So that courageous stance and seeing myself feeling in an acceptance place, in a trust place of myself and the universe, knowing that I can handle whatever will present and that I can definitely handle things more in a place of like courage and trust and acceptance more than fear. And so every time um, the fear came, my that trigger, I anchored in to my body and myself and psyche, that would remind me to remember all the parts of me into a courageous, trusting, strong person. So, and then what came so interestingly is that um, my self, psyche, um, presented different images that were, part of the like fear story or things that scared me. And they were framed by like golden light frame. And it showed that image in the frame. And then the frame dropped down black and white, like no color. And just the energy frame was left. And then I was able to do what I wanted with that frame of energy. And so I would take it and crumble it and, throw it out. Sometimes I would rearrange it and put it somewhere. It just sort of depended. And so that was like the process that I didn't really I consciously started the process, but then my subconscious really brought me to this. And the really cool thing is that it has stuck with me. So it's not at 100%. I'm still definitely working on just recalibrating my nervous system and really getting back to like trust and acceptance and joy in the moment, and not feeling so terrorized by every possible thing that wants to love me and kill me. It's like the universe and life is so beautiful and such a blessing, and it's also just so scary, especially at the edge of the cliffs near the ocean, inland with the fires. So I don't know, storms, tornado warnings, like it's just it's extreme when we get all these news alerts, which of course can be life-saving, but then also they can set off all of these alarms and fears that um, ended up not serving us. So I think it's a mixed bag. So I just wanted to talk about that today. I know that um, I'm not the only one who deals with fears. And I also know that everyone deals with them differently. The other part that is so interesting to me is that with fears, it seems like people feel one way when they're not being threatened. And then they feel another way when they are being threatened. And then they feel a different way once that threat has passed. So I think I've noticed it's common for people to, feel a sense of like, oh, you just got to trust, or it is what it is, or no, I'm not afraid of death, or what have you. But um, more often than not, if their body is presenting that they might have a heart attack, or they're going to run to the hospital. If their appendix hurts, like it's going to explode, they go to the hospital. If we see something that scares us, we run away if we can. So it's interesting, I think, that we have these different ways to feel about something that could be a trigger, whether it's in your present moment or outside of your present moment. And so I've been told over and over again, really, that trust, trusting in life, trusting in God, trusting in the universe, really just believing that, this is all okay, even when it's bad, and just like trusting in that and trusting in yourself and trusting that, the experience is, I don't know, meant to be, although I have a hard time with that phrase, um, gives people peace, but it takes sometimes a while to get there. So in the interim, just wanting to share this one anchoring that did work for me in case that resonates and that's something you want to try, or you can definitely try it on your own. You can also always work with a practitioner like me or Pete or anyone else you find. And the cool thing is again, to take the opportunities when you can to find ways to listen to yourself without directing the conversation from your thinking mind, and then not judging what comes, and then using these different tools can be helpful to get yourself to a listening place, a relaxed place, um, to follow the course that is brought. So for me, again, just to sort of, I guess, like wrap up this topic for now, I anchored into my body, and that's like that's a term in hypnosis where I put an anchor in my body that when I'm triggered with fear, that is a reminder. Sorry, let me turn this down. That is a reminder to let me just pause this and come back in a sec. Okay, so I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but or where I left off, but basically that you can anchor into your body when this trigger comes. For example, my fear comes, that's my body telling me, and it's a reminder to flip back to courage, to feel courage in my body, to take a courageous stance, to remember what resiliency and courage and strength and trust feels like. Feel that in my body in every single way, and allow whatever might happen in that moment. I feel stronger. My body changes. I see it in my mind's eye, or I actually physically do it. And so that is the anchor. And then the other thing that myself gave me was when an image came in color, it was framed in this like golden energy light, like just a picture frame. And the picture fell out of that frame and lost all of its color. And the image was just gone. It just happened very easily for me. Um, and then I had this energetic frame to do what I wanted with. And sometimes I would crumple it and throw it, give it back to the earth. Sometimes I would like mold it or put it inside if that felt right. It was just sort of whatever felt right. And so these two tools have been helpful to me as I'm working towards building my nervous system, building my trust again in the universe, and building my courage and my resiliency and my acceptance in this time of, terror for so many people, and the news and the weather and, God knows what else. And so with that, I do continue to pray for help for every single person that is struggling on this planet and being terrorized in all kinds of other ways and that are just unimaginable. And so I always put those prayers out, praying for help, calling out for help from the angels, and of course for my own self as well. And I hope that's helpful to some people who might be listening. And I would love to hear if you deal with fear, how you deal with it, if any of these suggestions I gave you've used before, or if you plan to use them, if they've worked. And you can always reach out, all the social medias. All right. Thanks so much, and hope everyone has a blessed day. Ciao for now.